And welcome to DNVR Bets Daily. Henry, Mama said there'd be days like this. The under was a push. The Rockies are in a low-scoring game in San Diego. Our upsets in other games didn't go well. Just one of those, Just one of those. How's the old DraftKings account doing for you?
It's in rough shape.
Yeah.
The problem for me today, though, is that this is the first time I've had a bad day after being on this show. And so even when I was losing money on the weekends. And so I didn't feel like I was losing money for other people. Today is the first day where I have like the guilt of leading others astray.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Hey, it's going to happen from time to time. The Avs really kind of killed our momentum.
Yep.
The Nuggets, I really thought were the better team yesterday.
And I stand by what we did. They were plus 360, plus 390, whatever they were. The strategy was to wait until after tip-off, use that 33% odds boost, turn that into like plus 500 or whatever. And that implies what? About an 18% chance of winning. They had a much better chance of winning than that. It was good value. It just didn't hit.
Just didn't hit. I thought really in that stretch at the end of the second, Paul George and Kawhi had to make some really, really tough shots to keep them in it. And, our superstars just weren't able to kind of elevate their game in that stretch. I thought our bench played better than they did. There were a lot of encouraging signs. This is anyone's series. I may or may not have jumped on the series line and just took them in the plus 300s while I could. In fact, what's that at right now?
That was going to be one of my picks for tomorrow when they play again. But, yeah, it's time to double down on the series line. It worked out for me when they were playing the Jazz. I got them down 3-1. I got him down again 3-2.
Plus 1050. Come on.
Plus 1050 in a 2-1 series. That's incredible value.
Come on.
At least there's something on there.
With how resilient this group has been, do not sleep on them. And really, you think that the Clippers had to crawl back to win that one. Game 1, the Nuggets were just tired from Game 7.
Yep.
The two games that have mattered, the Nuggets look like the better team for the majority of the time. So I guess that's encouraging. We hope to make some money again on that. Gary Harris does get his total points, rebounds, assists. That seemed like a safe one, but Jeremy Grant can't get 5 rebounds for me.
That was a rough one.
Can't even get what I need, 12 points. I needed 14 points. Jeez. Yeah, and they win. If those props hit, they win. So.
And the crazy thing is, you look at the rebounds, and in that first game, Jokic had, 18 rebounds? And I know there was a stat, I think they gave up 12 offensive rebounds in the first game. At halftime, I think the Nuggets still hadn't given up an offensive rebound. If not, it was late in the second quarter. And you'd think those rebounds would be going somewhere, especially when Jokic had so many in the first game. For Jeremy Grant not to hit that over, that's another crusher.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Jokic finally got his triple-double? I forgot.
I think he did. Right?
Was he an assist short? He was an assist short for the longest. He was on pace. Oh, man.
Yeah, the first quarter he was like 10-8 and stuff.
Yeah. It seemed like a guarantee for the entire game, and I think, he missed that assist. Insane.
But Jokic can do whatever he wants in the series, and I think we saw it.
He missed it by 2 assists, in fact.
So he goes in there, starts the game against Zubac, draws 2 fouls on Zubac in about 2 minutes.
Yes.
And then they throw in Harrell. Harrell was
JaMychal
the third.
Green.
JaMychal Green got the second try to stop
Reggie Miller,
Jokic.
they really like what they found with JaMychal Green. 2 fouls later from JaMychal Green, call Trez Harrell in.
And then
he gets
fouls.
a foul.
And then 2 fouls. And then
they're 6 minutes in, they had 5 fouls from the Clippers centers.
And then at the start of the second quarter, it's Zubac again, and he gets another foul on Zubac. And Jokic can do whatever he wants against these big men. And it worked for most of the game. You just needed a little bit more of it down the stretch. You need a couple more guys. You don't need Jeremy Grant taking as many shots as he took down the stretch. Those are situations where he needs to be heading to the rim instead of just sitting at the 3-point line. And nobody should be passing him the ball anyway. It's some frustrating things. But, again, we were talking about before, this is anybody's series still.
It's anybody's series.
Hopefully they've learned that Jamal and Nikola need to be taking those shots and not Jeremy.
Yeah, it's anybody's series, and it's anybody's series because this team has just grown in the bubble. The way MPJ has developed, and he was huge yesterday. The way Jamal Murray has really developed into a superstar. The fact that Jokic is still playing well despite the injury. And, I mean, I haven't enjoyed my superstars mismatch the way I have Jokic on Zubac since watching Von Miller just steal Mike Remmer's lunch in Super Bowl 50. So, it's really a fun mismatch to watch. It's a great series. We will be paying attention to that all along. Unfortunately, it's kind of the first time in a while we don't have a playoff game today in the Mile High Stadium, Prop City.
I don't know what to do with myself.
It's weird, man.
I
So
guess we will have the fantasy show tonight at 8.
yes, tune into that.
There is that.
Especially bettors. It's kind of betting adjacent.
That is true.
It's a fun way to game, but because of that, we do have NBA playoffs. We do have NHL playoffs. I think we're putting together a parlay. I know you've got some college football stuff we want to talk about, and we do still have a Rockies game after Kyle Freeland's phenomenal start yesterday. They can't pull it off, and today it's a Chichi Gonzalez day. So lots of things going on regardless of no Avs or Nuggets. So where do you want to start? NBA. Let's go there, where we are upset addicts. The Bucks, though, now are the underdogs here against the Miami Heat. Finally an adjustment, something we didn't see, for example, in that Stars Avalanche line ever.
Yeah.
They were down 3-1, and yet the Avs were still favored every single game. Obviously, the Giannis Antetokounmpo injury plays a massive part into this. Still questionable, still possible to play. What's your take on this?
I'm going to keep riding with the strategy. I think that's the big thing here is that whatever happens with Giannis, I'm taking the Bucks at plus money.
You are.
Yep, this has been the strategy all the way through. We weren't taking the Heat because we thought the Heat were the better team. We were taking the Heat because we thought that this was a pretty even series.
That's right.
And they had the plus odds.
Very good.
Now
Very
you can
good.
snag the Bucks at plus 150. Why not try it? I think that Giannis' injury is scary. If you guys didn't watch the game, he came in, he was having some ankle issues. He tweaked it in the game before. Early in the second quarter, he sprained it, left the arena in a boot, didn't come back in the game. He did shoot the free throws because he got fouled on the play.
That's what you do.
Yep. So we don't know whether he's going to be back. How does that impact this for you, though? Because I know for me, it's almost a wash because they did look so good without him.
Exactly. This is almost how I'm playing it, is I'm waiting for this injury report. And one way or the other, Giannis is healthy. I'm hoping to get the Heat all of a sudden at plus money. I wouldn't be surprised if that was enough of a swing to do that. Certainly I should be getting better odds than minus 160. If Giannis is injured, I'm riding with the Bucks. I really thought, with how teams have played Giannis in these playoffs, sagging off from him so much, double teaming him, they just have really struggled against the Heat especially. Without him, Chris Middleton stepped his game up. All of a sudden, all the shooters seemed to have more cohesion, more space. Everything was just flowing better. So I kind of like if I could get the Bucks at like plus 220 because Giannis is out. I like my odds there because they're playing with house money. They're not, all of a sudden they're not expected to win. They play a little looser, and just the game plan and flow seems to be operating better. So that's kind of how I'm playing this out. It's a bit risky to bet against Giannis, but I think you could do worse than that. The other really interesting series here has been Rockets-Lakers, which both games have been pretty close. The Lakers were up big in game 2 and then got caught back up. Talk about Russell Westbrook is having issues similar to Giannis, and the defensive game plan against them is similar, but the Lakers are really counting on LeBron and AD to be outstanding night in, night out for them to survive in this series. Again, we're riding with the strategy. I think the Rockets at plus 175 are pretty nice odds. This might be one of those where I wait for the game to start and then I take that live odds boost on this one.
Yeah, and I think what I might do is parlay the Bucks and the Rockets.
Yep.
And then if the Bucks lose and I'm kind of like looking like I'm out of luck with the parlay, then I'll probably use that odds boost on the Rockets money line and try again. And then if that does hit, the Bucks do win, then I'll probably use that live odds boost on something else. Maybe I'll jump in on one of the player props, over under something like that. Add a little diversity to my portfolio.
Yeah. Are there any props you're liking here?
Um,
I know you were pretty high on the 3-point props. Was it in the Lakers series?
I was looking more at the Bucks series, and again, I really do think that the 3-point shooting is reliant on Giannis. Like, you need him to crash the paint when he is just pulling everybody in there, because you can't forget that when he was playing, this was the best he's looked all series. 19 points in 11 minutes, 8 of 10 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3. Like, he was doing what he wanted.
He was dominating,
and
they were still down
1 point when he left the game. So, if he is playing, I think that I'm definitely looking at that Brook Lopez over 2.5 threes. I know that's a lot, but that's his role in that offense when Giannis is out there, and that's at plus 142, so it is good value. I will also say that Brook Lopez minus 107 to outscore Bam Adebayo. I like that as well. And then in the Rockets-Lakers game, PJ Tucker over 1.5 threes. It's only minus 180, but based on how he was playing in that last game, hitting 2 threes seems like it's more likely than not, especially in that offense where you know you're going to get consistent open looks because either Harden or Westbrook is going to get to the rim and collapse that defense. And then, of course, Jimmy Butler over 0.5 3. I'm going to keep riding with that.
Nice.
Even though it's only minus 159, he's got to hit a 3, right? He's got to get 1.
I would think so, too.
So I've been thinking a lot about 3-pointers, obviously. And I just think that there's some good options out there today.
Man, and in that Lakers Rockets, LeBron's over under in points set at 28.5. Russell Westbrook 22.5. James Harden 30.5. Anthony Davis 30.5.
Maybe the under on Anthony Davis.
Really,
the rest of
you're
those
not feeling an AD night.
Like I'm just really scared off. Like even LeBron, like betting on him to essentially get 30.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to sweat that one out. I definitely don't want to take the under on LeBron in a playoff game, you know? And that's kind of how I feel about all these guys. Russ with that 22, maybe that under there is tempting just because he has been really streaky and the off nights have been really ugly. He could have another off night where, I mean, single-digit points I think is really on the table for him. But it's Russell Westbrook who can drop 30, 40 at any point. And so I kind of want to just stay away from that.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of like the over here. If you like the Rockets, you like the over. Yeah. They just got to push the pace, man, and they got to hit so many threes to survive in this. So.
Yep, I do think the over is a good play.
NHL, we've got one game, Stars Knights.
Stars Knights. This is similar to the Lightning series. You know, we talked about the Lightning yesterday. I said I like the Lightning to win the series by 2.
Oh yeah, you were saying by over 1.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good value.
Yep. And the Lightning ended up winning that first game against the Islanders 8-2. I think that there is a pretty similar talent disparity between the Knights and the Stars. Mm-hmm. I'd ride with the Knights. I'd bet on them. I'd also take them in their series line minus 1.5. I think that might even be better value than you get. That might be plus 200. I can't remember. I put the bet in yesterday. But that's where I'm looking here is Knights all the way. If you want to boost that value, instead of just taking that money line, maybe take them to win in regulation.
Yeah, that's plus 105. Puck line intriguing at plus 170 here, too, for the Knights. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Stars got lucky in that first one. Feels like they're due. Okay.
Yep.
And I may or may not be parlaying all of these that we're giving out.
Yeah, I might sprinkle a parlay as well.
I'm waiting on the Bucks. Let's hit up the MLB before I get some takes from you on college football because we've got some Power 5 schools playing again this Saturday. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It kind of feels surreal, frankly.
Yeah.
We have Chichi Gonzalez on the mound against Mike Clevinger for the Padres. Clevinger at home has been very good, 1.93 ERA. He's the only one you can find a strikeout prop. His over-under on strikeouts set at 6.5. Man, after that high-scoring series against the Dodgers, I just thought that would keep up. And then, you know, in a classically pitcher-friendly ballpark in San Diego, it was a really low-scoring game yesterday.
Yeah, and I turned that one on in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
saw 0-0. It's like, oh, I wonder if this one's going 14. And then you watch the Rockies like get a runner on. Trevor Steele's second. You're like, okay, here's a chance. Is Kevin Pillar going to be the man for the Rockies? Go out there and essentially win them another game. He did not. And then the Padres just whooped up on Estevez. And and so now I'm looking at this saying, as much as I think that Mike Clevenger is going to give his team a much better chance to win than Chichi Gonzalez, Rockies at plus 195.
It's juicy.
Are they going to hold on long enough to get you a good cash out option? Maybe they take a lead and you're comfortable riding it out for the win. I don't know. I could ever be in that position with the Rockies, but we'll see. I think that maybe it's worth sprinkling that.
Yeah.
But, Clevenger was tweeting with Tony Hawk yesterday, the day before, and when you see that, it's like, can you really bet against that man?
Can you be locked in if you're tweeting with Tony Hawk, though?
Do you need to be locked in baseball? Like, you're just staying there half the time anyway.
Wow.
I mean,
Well,
come
as
on.
a
We all.
pitcher,
I
think as a pitcher, you'd have to be locked in.
He has half the game to sit in the
scorching hot
dugout
take.
and send his tweets out. I'm not worried about
I
it.
thought my betting against Giannis was a scorching hot take. Do you need to be concentrated to pitch in the MLB? That's the next level.
I don't know.
really like the over all around in this.
I think that's a decent value.
I like the over
Yeah.
3.5 for the Rockies. Over 3.5. I mean, it's Clevenger, guys. It's not Nolan Ryan here.
Yeah.
Over 5.5 for the Padres. Come on, it's Chichi Gonzalez.
It's just though, like you see Tony Hawk in a Clevenger jersey, and you're like, can you really be betting against this man?
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, then I'll ride with you on that one. It's 4 runs, and then of course I really want the best for Chichi Gonzalez.
Mind you, the bullpen could also allow the runs. It doesn't just have to be Clevenger.
That's true.
And then, the over at minus 120, over 8.5, and the money line. So I guess all of a sudden I'm in for 4 picks, and I feel like I'm going to have my heart broken, but that probably means those are all winners for the Rockies. Usually when I don't believe the Rockies, that's when they're money makers. Okay, well, the moment you've all been waiting for, the moment many of us have all been waiting for, we don't know how many college football picks we'll be able to make this year, frankly, so we better get our fill while we can. And before that, I want to remind you to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick any team during Week 1 of the NFL season, bet $1 on them, and win $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 when you use promo code DNVR during sign-up for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Let's get on that odds boost. Any hot odds boost for us today?
Nothing
What do you like?
in love with. The LeBron James triple-double at plus 215. I got it at plus 260 in that last game. That was the one we were talking about during that I thought that it had hit. He wound up an assist short. When you look at how many triple-doubles he's had, and this was before the last game, you're essentially looking for better than plus 250 odds if he's going to keep up the pace he's had throughout the playoffs. Well, now you're going to need even better odds than that because he just missed out on another triple-double. The odds are down to plus 215. It's not worth it. You can find better props. Anthony Davis and James Harden both to score over 61.5 combined points. Essentially looking for like a 30-point night from each of them. That could be off a bit. I don't like
You're
that.
asking for a lot.
I like those 3-pointers better. And then you have some baseball stuff that...
Yeah, the California love. They always try to get you with that, where you can parlay Giants, Dodgers, and Padres and Angels all to win, plus 490.
Yeah.
I need better than that.
I need better than that as well.
Okay.
There isn't anything in there that I think you got to get. Knights to win with a shutout at plus 935.
I mean, I know it's the Stars, but come on.
And they have good goalies. Those goalies will put them in situations.
Yeah. No,
it's possible. Plus 935, that's good value, but you have to understand what you're doing, and that's essentially like throwing a Hail Mary. But a Hail Mary that if you throw $10 in, you're going to get $100 back, so...
There you go. Hank, you have 2 more. Well, this is your second to last show on here with me, subbing in for Ryan. Tomorrow I'm going to let you get any hot takes, picks, bets, especially for the NFL coming up, off your chest. I know You innocently brought up some lines, some futures in the NFL you liked yesterday, and the office kind of exploded.
I know.
Those
You
were
say
some-
one good thing about the Patriots and the
some
sky
real
falls.
controversial takes. What you got on the college side for us today? That is what you're employed to do.
That
is
is
cover
actually my
college
job
football.
here, for those of you who don't know.
And prior to this job, you covered college football as well. Amazing.
I never covered the NFL up in Montana, actually.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I think there's one game this week before Saturday, and that's Miami playing UAB. And I really do think that is the game that is most worth watching. You forget that in college football, every week there are good games. But it's because there are just so many games that some of them turn out to be good. You look through these lines, and
Anything is
they're
possible.
almost all double-digit favorites. And
Across
there
the
aren't
board.
going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
many close games, at least according to the books. Tulane, South Alabama on Saturday night is an 8-point line. I mean,
That's the score.
8-point spread. So, I mean,
UTSA, Texas State.
yeah. So there's that too. Miami's the one that I'm really looking at, though, because Miami is kind of a dark horse national championship contender. And this is a quick look. De'Aaron King went through that whole thing last year where he sat out early
Former
at
Houston
Houston.
quarterback.
They had the new rule where you could play like 4 games and still redshirt. Things went badly for Houston. He was like, oh, I'm just going to take my redshirt, save one more year of eligibility. But don't worry, guys. I'm going to be right here back at Houston. That's not what happened. Now he's at Miami with a pretty great roster that includes my guy D. Wiggins, a name that sounds insanely close to T. Higgins, who's a great receiver, and that right there is enough for me to buy in. I think that this is going to be right up there with one of the best offenses in college football, and I think that this is going to be a big game. Take that -14 with Miami, see if they really can turn up the heat, win this game by 3-4 possessions, and prove that they belong in that national championship conversation.
I worry about Miami's opt-outs a little bit. While not knowing a ton about UAB, but it does feel, it's felt for a couple of years like Miami was due.
That's true.
That's the only thing that gives me pause, though, there is to lean either way. What I'm bullish on is the Qs, coached by Dino Babers, who's really got that program. Outside of Clemson, they've been the one other ACC team that's regularly been in the top 25 the last couple of years. They've got North Carolina, who, our colleague Andrew Mason will tell us, very, very talented young quarterback there. They're looking on the up and up with Mac Brown back there coaching. I can't believe, though, that the Tar Heels are 22-point favorites here.
It's because there's like this aura building around North Carolina.
Yeah,
you
but
look
come
at the recruiting, and all of a sudden they're pulling in all of this top-tier talent. They have Mac Brown leading the charge, but they are kind of being overhyped. And that 22-point line, you got to take Syracuse there. You got to take Syracuse plus 22.
Dino Babers, baby, come on.
Yep.
Dino Babers, what?
North Carolina is just kind of like hot right now. You're seeing their name in like the good conversations.
They're
Every
ranked,
analyst is calling them like some sort of dark horse. I like Syracuse plus 22 though.
22, though. Last year this line might have been reversed, frankly. So that's the juicy upset that I see. Duke Notre Dame's an interesting one. Notre Dame I really thought would have had a dark horse shot at a natty coming into this season. Then Cole Kmet declares for the draft. The uncertainty with this offseason and them kind of being an independent who's now going to play more in the ACC and how that changes things. 20-point favorite with all the unknowns against a Duke program that's been steady for many years now. That seems intriguing.
I would still take Notre Dame minus 20. That's where I'm at. I still do think they're right in that national championship conversation. Every team is going to have like a few guys who you're like, oh, I wish they still had him, especially this year because there are going to be so many opt-outs, the mid-season opt-outs. There's going to be we're already seeing games get canceled, and it's going to be a chaotic season. This is going to be a year where you want to have maybe a couple of shots on dark horse national champions. Even though I still do think that odds are it's going to be Clemson, it's going to be Alabama, it's going to be Ohio State right up there in that top tier. Weird things are going to happen. And you're at least going to give yourself some cash out opportunities, I think, if you do put some money on teams like Notre Dame, like Miami.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Do you, we've got some conference winners in here. And then, the Georgia Tech Florida State to me is very interesting. Unfortunately, Georgia Tech isn't the old Paul Johnson Georgia Tech from a couple years ago, or I'd be pretty bullish about it, especially with the weird offseason Florida State has had. But 13 points, Florida State shouldn't be minus two over a touchdown against anyone the way this team's played the last 2 years. They're now, it's now a new head coaching staff who's already had some problems with his players. With everything that went down, I think Georgia Tech is going to make this much tougher than the bookmakers have it here.
I could see it. I've said on the Buffs podcast that this year I'm only supporting triple option and air raid teams.
Yeah.
And so I think that means I have to be kind of like against Georgia Tech at this point.
They kind of betrayed you, yes.
They kind of did betray me. And so because of that, I have a tough time picking them. But yeah, you make some good points that maybe this line shouldn't be quite what it is. But still, that plus 420 is an intriguing value.
And then really the other Power 5 on Power 5 matchup we have is Wake Forest, Clemson, Wake plus 33. I think I like the Tigers there.
We did see Clemson come out slow last year, though.
It's true.
Remember that game against North Carolina? Was that overtime? Was that last possession of regulation that Clemson finished off? One or the other. And so I do think that even though it does seem like Clemson should be able to beat Wake Forest by 34 points, that's a crazy number. And you never really know what's going to happen. I'm just going to stay away there.
I like the over 60.5 in that one too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Well, there's some college football prep for you too. We'll see what happens Thursday with that Miami game. Oof. Until then, best of luck with the Rockies and these NHL, NBA parlays, and hopefully you do some single bets as well, since there's nice value on a lot of these upsets we gave out, and I would hate for everything to be blown by one loss, So, Best of luck. We will see you tomorrow.